Okay, so some of you may have seen that I made a post on Tumblr about a week ago about changing your name in England. This is England, not Scotland or other parts of the UK, which may be different, but I don't know because I don't live there. And I tried to make a video version of this a few times, but it was just too long, and I rambled, and you wouldn't have learned anything from it. So if you want to know all about it, then I'll put a link to that post I made in the little details section below. So I've got a couple of common myths and misconceptions about changing your name in England, which I'm just going to quickly talk about. So one is that it costs a lot of money. It doesn't. It can be free if you want it to. And the free deed-polls are no more legal or no less legal than anyone that you would pay for. As far as I'm concerned, there is no reason to pay more than you need to for this. It is your name, it's yourself, you don't need to pay for it. There are several websites, again these are in the post that I made before, that will make free deed polls for you, or the wording is even on Wikipedia. They are just as legal as the other ones, as I keep saying. All you may need to pay for is some nice posh fancy parchment paper which you can get off eBay for like £3 or less. If you really can't afford it, then you can just print it out on normal paper. You just might have a little more difficulty, and people believe it is an actual legal document, but it is. Even there's a couple of people who suggest that it looks more official on normal paper. It costs as little as you want it to, or as much as you want it to. If you really want it to cost loads, I don't know why you would. Two is that you need a solicitor, or someone who's known you for more than 2 years, or someone who's a professional to sign your deed poll. You don't go away fly. All they need to be is over 18, not a family member, and not living in your household. That is like the only thing they need to be. They don't need to be a solicitor, they don't need to be someone who's known you for 2 years or is a professional. That comes from getting passports or statutory declarations, which are two entirely different things. You need 2 witnesses, which is the third point. You don't. Often deed polls will be generated or come to you asking for 2 witnesses. That is sort of the most common way, but mine only had 1 witness. I know other people have only had 1 witness and they have no problems at all. You only need 1 witness. Obviously there's nothing wrong with having more than 1 witness, of course, but if you are struggling to find people, then 1 will do. You cannot change your title until you have a gender recognition certificate or some form of medical procedure. No. Again, no. You can change your name at any point, just like any other person can. You don't need anything else to back that up. 5, you have to change over immediately. No. The only thing you really need to change immediately is like tax and driving licence, because they are things which require the details to be kept up to date. And like when you vote, electoral registering and stuff should really be in your real name. I know people who haven't changed things for months or years. I haven't changed my union membership because I left it so long and I can't face telling them my old name now. So that's like, you don't need to do everything like that. It can wait a while. Like, if it's all getting on top of you, just leave it a week or 2 and then start changing things again. I have to change my name now. People are saying I have to do it now. You do things in your own time. If you're seeing a gender identity clinic, then they may say, well, we can't move on until you're living full time as your chosen gender. And they do have a fair point. You should be interacting as yourself, and that is very difficult to do. That's very difficult to do when you have a name which is gendered. But you don't have to listen. You can take things at your own pace, just like the rest of your transition. It's all down to you what you do and when you do it. And again, if people are pressuring you, saying your name is not male enough or your name is not female enough, then just tell them that is my name. Like, at some gender identity clinics, people have had a problem with the name Alex, and I'm sure, as you know, that is my name. I would just tell them to get lost. I haven't had any problems personally, but I've heard of people who have, like Alex and Nick and stuff, things that can be unisex. And if you're a cis person, you wouldn't say, oh no, you can't have that name, that is unisex. It's your name. And you need to explain to them that yes, my name might be that, but it's still pretty obvious that I'm male, you know. I'm called Mr. Or, you know, in my case, or my name is Alexander. If anyone asks you for my email address, it's got Alexander in it. It's your name. And don't feel pressured to change your name immediately. It's your name, it's your journey, it's who you are, not what anyone else says you are that counts. 7, I don't like my name anymore, but I'm stuck with it now, I've changed it. No, like any other person, you can change your name as many times as you like. You know, there are people out there called, I don't know, bloody Penguin Joe or something. Like, as long as it's a name which is acceptable, you know, it's not swearing, it's not impersonating anyone, bloody blah, there's a couple of things you can't change your name, like pronounceable and shit like that. You can change it as many times as you like, but obviously you've got to remember that it is hard for people to get used to changing their name, even if it's from one male name to another male name, or one female name to another female name, because most people don't really do it. It's like there was a girl at my school who for a while wanted to change her name to Honey instead of Hannah, because it was the name of a porn star. Hannah, not Honey, that is. It was a bit weird. And people struggle to get used to that. It does take time for people to get used to things, and you have to bear that in mind when you're changing your name. And especially if you keep changing it, people might think, well, you're having a joke. But, all that being said, if you really don't like your name, then change it again. It doesn't matter. And the other thing to think about is, why do you no longer like that name? You know, you don't want to have a common theme of names that you don't like. Also, you know, if you prefer your middle name to your, like, first name, then just go by your middle name. People do that. I know a woman whose father was called, I can't think what he was called. He was called Bill. No, he wasn't. He was called Bob. It was actually because his surname was Roberts. So his first and middle names were completely forgotten, and he was called Bob from his surname. He was in the army, so it kind of made sense. But, you know, you can call yourself what you like, and it doesn't even legally have to be your name, as long as people call you that and you sign things with your legal name. And the last point I've got is X, Y, or Z won't accept my deed poll. Apparently it's not official. There is no such thing as an official deed poll. They are all equally as legal and valid as each other, as you know, as long as you haven't just made up some wording and claimed it's a deed poll. As long as it's got the correct wording in, or vaguely correct wording, you can have changes, little changes. I mean, it's easier not to change it, but you could if you wanted to. It is just as equally legal and as valid. It doesn't need solicitors' signatures, stamps, reference codes, anything like that on it. Some places will be a pain in the arse and try and claim that it does need these things. That is not true. That's all the things I could think of. Oh no, I've forgotten one. The other one is, I can't change my title until I have a GRC, a Gender Recognition Certificate, can I? Yes, you can. Titles are not legally binding, with the exception of special things like Doctor, Sir, Lord, etc. You can be Mr, Mrs, Miss, Ms, Mix. All of those are not legally binding. Anyone can take those. A completely cisgender man could call himself Miss if he wanted to. An unmarried woman could call herself Miss. A married woman, no, the other way round. And you get what I'm trying to say, don't you? Like, you don't need to have any qualifications to be any of those things. And if you're a doctor, then yes, use that title. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but titles are not legally binding unless they're one that you need to have a right to, in which case, then that's your right. You can call yourself doctor, or you could go back and call yourself Mist. I'm sure this is all explained to you when you get your PhD. But yeah, it's like, it is your name. That is what it comes down to, and you can change it whenever you like. Yeah, so good luck with the names, and I hope this cleared up a few myths and I haven't just made a complete tit of myself, which I think I might have done. Alright, bye.